Hi everyone, if you are planning a trip to the UK but you're unsure of how the visitor's visa process goes, then you are definitely at the right place because I am here to give you guys a step-by-step guide on how to apply for your UK visitor's visa, and I'll also give you guys tips on how to make sure that you get that approval. So first things first, you need to have gathered a few documents before you even start this process, and that is your passport, your proof of funds, your proof of accommodation, your proof of relationship with your sponsor. That's if you are getting a sponsor for this visa. Your employment letter, if you are employed, basically that letter needs to state that you will be returning back to work. And if you have any other supporting documents like your utility bills, your property, if you own a business, but we'll get into detail with that a bit later on. To go to the application form, you will visit the www.gov.uk website. It will bring you here where you will type visa, and right there is visa application. You click that, you click enter, and you will go right down to visit the UK as a standard visitor. And there's a bit of information that you might find useful there, like things that you will need to do. You check if what you plan to do in the UK is allowed as a standard visitor. Check if you meet the eligibility requirements. Check if you need to apply for a visa to visit the UK. Apply for a standard visitor visa online if you need one. And then there are a list of things that you can and can't do on a standard visa. And then these are the eligibility requirements. And you can also check if you need a visa to visit the UK, because some countries don't need a visa. And if you have to apply for a standard visitor visa, if you are South African with a South African passport, you definitely need a visa. So you'll just go to apply for a standard visitor visa, and then you'll just go right at the bottom. So these are the fees for a standard visitor visa. Is about £115 for a 6-month visitor visa, which is about 2,700 if I'm not mistaken. And now we'll just go ahead and apply. We are going to do the application form in English. Select a country to provide your biometrics. If you are going to be applying in South Africa, you will just type in South Africa. And then check available visa application centers. If you already know which center you'll be going to, you'll have to click that you have identified a location. And more information that you might need. So about the TB test, I know that when I did my visitor's visa, I did not need a TB test. I only needed a TB test when I did my spousal visa, but I think things have changed, so we might need to just confirm that again if you need to take a TB test. There's just more information that you might need. And then now we'll start the application. Because I already have an application, I'll just say open my other application that I've started. So once you get to this page, this will be the beginning of your application form, and you'll see that there are 6 steps to complete before you submit your application form. And the first thing is to register your email and your password. And then you move on to the second part of this application form, and that's where you will answer questions on your personal information, your employment, your income and expenditure, as well as your travel history and information. And the third step will be documents. That's when you are supposed to submit mandatory documents and other supporting documents, such as your evidence of funds, your evidence of support, evidence of the relationship if you're being sponsored, and then evidence of your sponsor that they will not be in breach of the UK immigration laws at the time of your visit. And then we move on to declaration. So basically there, they just want to know that the information and supportive documents that you submitted are correct. And if they are, you can go on and move on to the next part, which is payment. That's where you'll make all your necessary payments. And if you are making payments from South Africa, your visa will cost you 2,772 rands. And then after, you will then move on to further actions, and further actions, that's where you book your appointment. It is quite a bit of a lengthy application form, but I promise you'll be done in less than 20 minutes, provided that the information you provided is accurate and you have all the supporting documents that they require from you. And I will go on and share with you guys in detail all the necessary documents that you need with your application form. So guys, this is how I compiled my documents together. I created one folder, which is the visa UK visa documents, and all the documents that I am going to be submitting with my visa are in this folder. If you open the documents, you'll see that there are different folders again. So the first folder is the applicants, which is myself. Inside the applicants folder, we have my London accommodation booking. So in as much as I will be staying with my husband, we have planned to go to London. So that's the accommodation booking that I did put in there. And in the itinerary, I did also say that we will be visiting London. So because we don't stay there, we need proof that we have somewhere to go to once we're there. And then we have the intent to return to work letter. So this letter was drafted by our HR in my previous job, and I will just show you guys briefly what the letter looks like. This letter is very important because this is the one thing that they can hold you against to say that you will be returning back to your home country. And then I have my passport as well as my bank statements. Then we move on to the sponsor folder. In the sponsor folder, we have the invitation letter that my husband drafted. We have the mortgage agreement. We have his passport, and then we have the utility bill. And then evidence of funds. Evidence of funds is divided into two again. So we have all the bank statements in there. I'm not going to open that. And then we have all his pay slips for the duration of 6 months. Evidence of relationship. So in the evidence of relationship, it's also again divided into 3 different folders. So I just want to talk about this one quickly. So the proof of relationship letter, that's basically a brief letter that we drafted just to say that we are in a relationship, basically just trying to sum up our relationship since being together so they know we're together. We have the call log. So if you open here, you'll see that there's a lot of screenshots there. All these screenshots right here, they are in this PDF folder. So basically those are screenshots of call logs between myself and him, just to say that we do talk on a daily basis, you know, just to prove the relationship that it is real. And then we have the pictures. The pictures, again, we did the same thing. We took a bunch of pictures, put them together in one folder, and then converted that folder into one PDF. So this PDF has random pictures of us. This PDF has pictures of us on our November trip, and then this PDF has pictures of us on our September trip. And then we have visits. So these are actually flight tickets when my husband was coming to see me in South Africa. So lastly, we have the evidence of support. They're just trying to see if you are in the UK legally. And then to prove that, we have my husband's passport, and we have his employment contract, we have the mortgage agreement, and we have the sponsor letter. Basically, these are all the supporting documents that we submitted just to prove our case a bit further. And you would need these kind of documents, especially if you are visiting the UK and someone in the UK is sponsoring your trip. And if that someone is your partner, you would need to prove your relationship a bit further so they know that it's not relationship is not arranged for monetary purposes. And if you're going to visit family or friends, you would still also need to prove your relationship, that this is how you know this person. So once you have submitted your application form and you have paid your application fee, you will then need to book your appointment, and you can book it at any of the UK visa application centers. There is one in Johannesburg, in Cape Town, and in Durban. At this appointment, your fingerprint and your photograph will be taken. On the day of your appointment, make sure that you arrive on time and you have all the necessary documents with you, because if you don't have, you're going to have to book another appointment, and that means you have to pay again. You will then submit all your supporting documents either online or at the visa center, and in my case I did everything online, and once I got to the visa center I just double checked with them that they have everything that I have submitted. So once you've submitted all your documents and they've taken your fingerprints and your photographs, they've asked you all the necessary questions they needed to ask you about your visa, what you plan to do in the UK, you will then have to wait. The standard processing time is about 3 weeks, but in my case, I received my passport back in about a few days. I think it was about 8 days or 8 to 9 days or so. If your visa is approved, you have the option to collect it at the visa center or you can have it delivered to you. That also depends on the option that you chose. They would have asked you at your biometric appointment what you prefer, and there you go, your visa is approved, hopefully. And I do hope that you enjoyed the video. If you found it useful, please like the video and subscribe to have more UK content, and I do hope that you have a beautiful UK trip. You want to make sure that you answer each and every question truthfully and honestly. You don't want to find yourself making a mistake and having a declined visa just because of one silly mistake that you could have literally changed. And I feel like that's why they also still give you an opportunity to check your answers. So check your answers, make sure that everything is correct, make sure you did not lie on your visa, because trust me, they will catch you out if you have put in false information there. Make sure that you have enough savings or spending money for your trip to the UK. So with the UK visa, they don't give you a specific amount that you would need to have before you get approval. You know your lifestyle, you know exactly what your itinerary looks like. It needs to correspond with the amount of money that you will have for the trip. Submit enough evidence of your relationship with your sponsor. So this is very important, guys, because there has been a lot of cases where people have came over to the UK through another person and they don't even know that person. It was just all an arrangement and there was money that was exchanged, so they're trying to avoid that at all costs. So if you can submit enough evidence of your relationship with your sponsor, it will make the process even much more easier. Give a detailed itinerary. So it's not a must to book your flights, but if you have booked flights, then do show that you have booked your flights. Your accommodation should correspond with the flights that you have booked. Your activities should also correspond with your flights and your accommodation. Everything should be aligned, guys. Give them more information than they require from you, guys. I would rather you overwhelm them with information than giving them too little to work with, because once there's too little to work with, there are high chances that your visa might be declined. They will then think this is another arrangement for someone to come to the UK, and once they get to the UK, they overstay their welcome and they never go back home, and they try to avoid that at all cost.